All right, well, welcome everybody to the Bookmap Academy meeting. We do this every Thursday, as you guys know, and we're going to go through. Well, welcome everybody to the Bookmap Academy meeting. The goal here is to give feedback, coaching, and mentoring on your journaling of trades, your content. And then we open the mic for you as well, so you can explain what you've been looking at, and then how can we assist, give some feedback, and maybe some mentoring on that. Yeah, just open up the discussion. We do have some news and events to go through. So let me first go into that. And we'll go through the disclosure actually. General disclosure, all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so first thing that I want to go through with you guys is this blue jacket. Okay, so it's a $600 plus subscription that you can win. It's 3 months of Global Plus, which is our premier package, and it comes with Bookmap data. And then we added in this month 60 minutes one-on-one with me for coaching. So get some feedback personally here. You also get 1 month of Discord Nitro. So we've kind of upped the ante a little bit more, added a few more things in here. So yeah, please, when you journal your content, just put hashtag BJC, and you should be good to go. And there is a new Bookmap blue jacket room though that you want to post in there. All right. So just make sure that you can post in there. We just had some confusion, so you can post in there, or you can or post in the Bookmap Academy room. Is that right, Dan? Post in the Academy room with the hashtag BJC.
They're welcome to post within the chat or within the Academy room with BJC. We can filter for both now.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, go for it. You're journaling anyway. So if you haven't won, then this is your chance. And then we announced this last week. Congratulations to Valefan 46. You guys have seen a lot of his content in here. He's a stocks trader and using Bookmap together with his Camarilla pivot points. And we wanted to go through his whole journey in here because just to kind of illustrate that what the process is. So for example, 1 year ago, he started up with Bookmap. He started using Bookmap and he applied for the Bookmap Junior Academy. And for those of you who are interested in this, let me show you where you go. Is go to bookmap.com, click on the More button here, and go to Bookmap Academy here, and this is where you can apply. All right, you can read through it, the program, the steps that you take, etc., and what you get. So 3 months after he got Bookmap, he made his first Bookmap Academy Junior Academy post, and we'll go through what each post looked like. And then 3 months later, though, he became Bookmap Academy. Right, so it was 6 months for him, and he is now getting Bookmap for free. He doubles his quota. He'll get the Bookmap MBO bundle along with Bookmap Global Plus for free. All right, so you can do this. Just keep making your quotas. It's a quantitative and qualitative quota. Just read through that web page. So here's his first, mock-ups in here. In journaling, you can see he's looking at a lot of other charts in here, and then he's starting to look at Bookmap. He's documenting entry targets, etc., which is great. But it's pretty sparse in here. There's not a whole lot that he's starting to notice or mark up here. And then let's go to his first Bookmap Junior Academy post in here when he became Junior Academy. Now you can see that the Candlestick chart is kind of just higher time frame overview, and he's really looking into the order flow now. He's noticing R3. He's got his resistance here. He's got his entry in here. Very targeted areas in here. He notices high liquidity targets on the way down, and then he's getting out partial. And after it trades through this high liquidity in here, or maybe down into some of these areas in here, prior day close. I mean, he's marking up these very specific things, and this has been helping his trading. So then, and also I should mention, he, for his content, he actually won the Bookmap Blue Jacket competition. So he got 3 months of Bookmap Global Plus for free. And then he continued to post, and this is just a post from the other day. This is what his content looks like now. It is very targeted. It is only order flow. It is only Bookmap. He knows exactly what he's looking for. He's got his entry in here. He's trading off of the chart. He's got his S3 floor trader pivots. He's noticing his partials. He's looking at the head and shoulders pattern in here. He's noticing the high liquidity in here, and knows where his stop is as well. Okay, so it's the same thing that we've been going through with, let me show you. It is with, oh, hold on a minute. With slowdown, and we've showed this many times over, but it's worth going over yet again. And here's his progress. Original focus. He's looking at many different things, many different order flow elements. In May, he comes into the Bookmap Academy. The Junior Academy. He's refining it here. 3 months later, May to July. And then another, 4 months, it looks like, into October, and how focused he's getting here. And he has a very precise, focused study. He's got his image up here, a diagram of what he's looking for. He knows what it looks like in the Bookmap chart. He's got his checklist, and then he's looking at his entries and exits right off the Bookmap chart in here, and noticing his targets. He knows exactly what he's looking for. This is how we hope the Bookmap Academy program can help you. Anyway, I just wanted to congratulate Valefan again, and go through that process and how long it took. It's pretty great. So that said, we're going to jump right into Valefan. Now, Jack covered Vale earlier, but Jack cannot present because he had kind of a health issue that prevented him from speaking correctly. So he's got a really nice write-up here for you, Vale. So you can take a look at that. But we're going to jump into this trade here, and then we'll open the mic for you, Vale, and go through what you're looking at and what your decisions were.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Yeah, this was a trade. Was this on MNQ, I believe? I've been seeing this a lot when it gets up towards a certain level, especially an area where I'm looking for selling to emerge, and a lot of buying, and then we get buying and going sideways, and then kind of an up thrust, some liquidity, and then just a huge sell-off as it struggles to try to go higher. In this trade, I wish I would have seen the price action before where I took my trade. I'm sorry, the price action after I took my trade, when I was taking my trade. Like, that was textbook. That was exactly what I like to see. But it was doing what I wanted it to while I was looking at the Qs. I was looking at the QQQ, and it was right at R4. I was getting this action, and like my quote said there, is like, sometimes it gets me in trouble. I'll try to take this trade at R4 on NQ. I get stopped out maybe once or twice, don't want to take another trade on it. Then I get my move and look over at the Qs, and it was sitting right there. So it's been a journey to try to work in my system with futures and make it successful.
That's
It's,
interesting.
it's a
So
really good trade.
yeah, you nailed it. I mean, like I would like to see the cues because like looking at this right in here, this still looks pretty bullish to me. Here it starts to maybe break down a bit, but boy, I really don't see much until maybe beyond this. And actually, you're taking your partial here, and that's kind of where I would be looking to maybe enter. Maybe up here, but it still looks pretty bullish here. So,
I had another chart up there with it. I don't know if Jack put the chart, but I had a chart of the Qs.
oh, you did,
It
okay.
touched right into the same area, same R4 area, except that area was higher on the Qs than it was on NQ.
Uh-huh.
And I almost immediately got the rejection that I wanted to see. And then once I got a low volume test, I had a really tight entry. And I was like, well, this is definitely worth taking. Other than I don't have anything on the order book really below.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
it's
had a tight entry, so I took it, and then it just started to really run for me.
yeah, yeah. Now, I mean, that's a nice little note here about the order book is very sparse here. So there's really, I mean, what does it do? It comes down to the high liquidity down here, uh, right to it, a little bit below it, and I don't know what these are your pivots, I guess, right? Here.
That was my R4 pivot. That
Okay.
was on NQ.
Yeah, yeah. So wow, I mean that's a pretty nice trade from pivot to pivot through that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I thought it was just going to go and take out those swing lows. That's kind of what I was looking for. I've kind of got this really tight entry. I've got more than a 2-to-1 to get that first partial on those swing lows, but nothing really could stop it. It just started selling and just fell.
yeah,
Bottom just dropped right out.
yeah. And not only did you even added to it here, which is uh,
Sweet.
It
fantastic.
popped right up there off of R3 level. It's another area I look for selling. It popped right off of it and then immediately sold below it and then came back up and tested. So I added back and then went for the liquidity that was building down there on
Yeah,
my S3.
yeah, yeah. Fantastic. So and then you see it again here. So did you take this one over here as well?
Now, with the price action, how everything has been lately, I just try to be one and done.
Hmm.
If I could get one good trade out of, three, maybe two stops out, I might try another one. But if I get one, I'm gonna be one and done. I'm gonna be one and done right
Yeah,
now until everything becomes a little bit more less chaotic and the swings just aren't as violent and wide. It just feel like the margin for error is so wide nowadays on things. It's hard to get a grasp of and get a good entry on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, great stuff. I before I turn it over to David here, just a question on. I know this is your style. We talked about it before. You're in heavy on the entry, and then you might add if it really goes your direction, but you like to take out tons of partials along the way. So that's working for you. Um, how often does it, when if it goes against you and you have a loss, or maybe you have two losses, uh, then how do you kind of deal with that, uh, with trying to average or come out on top for the day, or even mentally, like how do you deal with that?
I won't take as many chances. I'll wait longer for partials. If I see that we can get there, I maybe won't even add at all to make sure I just lock in all the profit that I can get
Yeah,
out of it. So it just if I've taken those big losses, 1 R loss, 1 R loss, I have to see everything. Take another trade at that point. Even after 1 R loss, I'm really looking for a really great setup that matches everything. And then if I'm taking two, I'm only going to take one more trade and be done. Then it has to have everything, and I am much more conservative on something like that.
yeah, yeah. David.
Beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. Have to say, I'm with you, Bruce, in terms of I think if Jet was on the call, we could perhaps sort of broad brush and say, yeah, there is a bit of where the entry is, that's sort of in that mix of lower highs and all that sort of sort of stuff. But it's a bold entry, even just looking at this chart and the Q chart. So do you look at any of the Mag 7 when you're looking to trade NQ?
That's all I usually trade. That's all I usually trade. The Mag 7 plus
Okay.
AMD.
Okay, so you've got that feel as well as looking at this sort of chart. But it's yeah, I'm with Bruce perhaps where I would have got in. I do like the ad as well. That's good. Like days like today, we were talking just before the call. When you see those sort of bubbles put together, that's just when you've got to be bold, or you should be bold, can be bold, and just spank away and add to the account and hope it works the right way. Not a lot else to say really, Bruce. Yeah, it's just fantastic. The entry was market entry there.
I believe so. Sometimes I'll try to get in on the bid, and I usually don't have a whole lot of problems doing that on ES or MES or MQ. I think that one may have been a market. I can't remember. The two are right next to each other on my hotkey boards.
Okay. Yeah, it's monster. It's 100 and it's getting towards 200-point trade, isn't it? So it's you can't.
I mean, the stop was not much. It was like maybe 15 points or less. So
tight.
The risk was low, and I was just looking for the swing lows. I was excited to just get those.
Yeah, no, fantastic. No, I'm very much with you that thought of, to repeat the phrase of sort of one and done. You do that and you think, yeah, I've really bent my luck today. I'm just going to go and do something else for the rest of the session.
And it gets to my psychology too. And I've a really good trade. I'm like, all right, I've got some risk to get back, and then I give it back and I give it back, and then the next day I go in, and then I may take one or two more losses. I'm like, why did I just stop yesterday when I'm done?
Yeah,
it's a lot of the times I will beat myself up more about what I don't think I did well in a trade rather than what I know I did well. I'm like, well, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Sure.
To do that well. I'm supposed to hit that. This stuff, I'm not supposed to do that, or I shouldn't do that, or I'll beat myself up more about that than I will about being happy about the things I did well.
That's fair. Are you, Bruce has zoomed in, are you running any sort of MBO below this, any ice, that sort of thing? Although,
Bruce just hooked me up with that.
Okay.
So I am going to be getting into that. He did part of the BBT community, Bearable Traders, and Bruce did a webinar for them this week that was awesome. And I saw that some of the new stuff that was added for equities, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to try some of that stuff out.
Yeah, the MBO only work on the futures, CME, Vale, but
you had the stuff for the equities though.
Oh yeah, the market pulse stuff. Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you'll get that, all of that stuff, which will be great. Yeah, no, I mean, like, again, I really like. There's something on here that's not really on the chart. And I think this is really helpful to a lot of traders that maybe are newer, is you have a strategy here, and it's not listed, but is your pivots. That's what you trade. You wait for order flow around your levels, and you know how to trade those levels. You know what you're looking for. You've been doing it for a while. Then you're splicing in with more precision with Bookmap around those levels. But there's a bigger picture approach here, and is filter. We talked about filters last time. So that's such an important part that gives you that confidence of like, this is what I'm looking for on the higher time frame. Now I got the order flow to support it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, just having just to be able to see it visually, the price action and what's going on. It just I don't have to look at two or three different things, switching and looking. I don't miss as much.
Nice.
Just looking right at Bookmap, looking at the order flow, putting my level right in there on the chart. I see the price action around, and as soon as I see what I want to see, I put in my entry and put my stop right where it needs to be, and then I just keep watching the price action.
Yeah.
And start struggling. I'm taking more partials, maybe unwinding the positioning. I'm getting a good low volume pullback and a moving average I like to add on. I see a nice pop right there, and I see some liquidity coming on. That's a great place for me to add, and then to run the trade out, to that next area of liquidity.
Are you on Eastern time there?
I'm in Mountain. I live up in the rural mountains of Colorado.
Okay, so that's my. I'm trying to think because I'm looking at this, my usual thing, Bruce, of London close. Because if that was Eastern time, 11:30
So
is
this
London
is
close.
the right before the open. Then I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. This is 1:30. 1:30
Eastern
Eastern.
time. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. I live in Mountain Time, but my chart is Eastern.
Okay. Okay, great. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is your London
I'm
close,
sorry.
David.
yeah. That drop is into the London close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
101.
my group's been talking a lot about the London close,
Good.
different closes, different
That's
markets,
good.
and working that into
Well done,
our
Bruce.
strategies as well.
Yeah. Market timing is just such a important part as a filter as well. I mean,
Yeah.
opening drives and when most traders are trading or
Mm.
how they're going to react around certain times is critical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and just another comment yeah, on this one here. I like also the discipline with you're taking many partials, but I really like that you're holding here. This is some nice discipline, and you're like, okay, now it's telling me like it's going the opposite way, and I'm going to take my stop, my final stop,
Yeah.
and
It kind of ended up in no man's land right there.
yeah,
I was
odd
I was looking
place.
left to where it had broken out before.
Yeah,
If you look just all the way back over left towards what was that, 10, 15. Well, if it doesn't reject that area, I just have to get out. And it kept bombing right through it. So I was like, I got to stop out. But yeah, I try to leave a trailer just so I can get anything extra if it really
Nice.
does another big run down, just to have that trailer going.
yeah. Yeah, that's another good point. Like there is, so you got your floor trader pivots, but you also have some really nice market structure around those floor trader pivots. Like there's a swing here, and this is at 10 o'clock, right? So you can see a little swing here, but then it breaks out from that swing. It comes back, retests it right to not only the where it broke out from here, but you got your pivot and you got your high liquidity just in front of it here. And that's where you take, your last two partials, which is fantastic. So you've lined up now your bigger picture pivots with order flow for entry and also for exit. It's even clearer here for me, at least on the exit, why you're getting out at some of these areas here. Yeah, good
It's a fun.
stuff.
It's going to try to finally get one of these on the futures. I'm usually just battling to get a couple R's in the trade and
Yeah,
for some losses, but it's getting a little bit better. Things seem to be calming down, and I can get a tighter idea or an idea of how tight the price action range is currently, and
yeah.
not the swings of 100 points beyond what I'm looking for. And I'm like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a really odd move, but you nailed it. The one question that we're getting over in YouTube is where was your initial stop?
It's the break of the high day.
Just up here.
Yeah, so I just use a hockey and then I move that stop down.
Okay. So
20-point hockey.
you have a
for the
very
hockey, and then I move the.
very tight stop then.
Because I knew there was liquidity higher, and if it broke the high a day, it could probably run it and trap some of these sellers that had been trying to come in. Well, it's been consolidating sideways. So if it broke that, it's definitely going to run to that liquidity higher. So I might as well just get out and get right there.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Good point. So you're reading. I mean, we didn't mention that. Like, so you got high liquidity filled here. You got your pivot. It went above it. It's trying. You got high liquidity here. You got high liquidity up here. I see some selling up here. You got high liquidity coming in again. It trades, but it can't trade through it. And then you start to see some selling, and that's where you enter.
And that test to try to go higher into that liquidity was much less volume. There was a lot less volume.
Yeah.
And then red just hit the tape and came in. And I was like, that probably was then a new 1 minute low right there. And I was like, yeah, I'll take the entry here. That's a really tight stop. So let me see if it will do something. And then the next test was just selling and it just rolled over.
Yeah. Wow. It's like catching the tiger by the toe here. Very nice trade.
Great. Beautiful.
We're all that easy. We're all like that. It's great.
Yeah, but another time, I think you've got to go, Valley, but
Yeah, I've got an appointment.
yeah, you got an appointment. But one thing is from where were the pivots taken? Those are, oh boy, those are just Camarilla pivot points.
Camel pivots.
Yeah. So the what else? What else was I going to say here? I would like to bend your ear another time, since you're trading futures now. What you think about futures versus stocks? But let's hold.
Yeah, I'd love to get in that discussion with you and David.
Yeah,
That would be
definitely,
great.
definitely, because they're different animals, and they trade differently. So anyway, another time for that. Great stuff, and congratulations again, Vale, and
You guys are the best.
oh,
Proud
Everybody in this
Proud.
community. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you too.
All right, let's.
You guys.
Okay, all right. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care.
Let's see here. So that's Jack, and then Jani Alap. I don't know if he's in here.
That's AJ, I think. I might be wrong on that. AJ 880095. Yep,
Is
he's
it?
got his hand up.
Okay. Yep. Let's go.
Well done. Well done, Danny. Well covered.
Oops. There we go. All right. Welcome back, AJ.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. What is that? 8/12/2024. Give me a second to get to that one. Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. Well, let's see here. You got your long entry off of your pre-market low here. You got some
Yep.
liquidity down here. You got your highs up here. So you just grabbed it from the low to the high. Beautiful. Walk us through the trade.
Yeah, sure. So, this was 8/12, and I think, with all the trades that I do, I try to set up a context of the day in relation to what's happened the prior days, as well as what's upcoming for the week. And then lately, as Valley kind of mentioned, we've been having, quite a bit of either economic data or a lot of impulsive moves up, especially the last 8 days. I pay a lot of attention to that. That being said, I frame all of my trades basically on market structure. And to me, market structure is a combination of what you see on the chart as well as what I see on previously kind of mapped areas that I look at from footprint charts as well as market profile TPO charts. So here, this is kind of one of my bread and butter setups, which is I tend to trade more within certain time zones, and that's why you'll see me highlight IB or opening range or the noon hour or the late afternoon 1:30 and thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
This was a morning trade for me, and lately I'm sort of in the same philosophy, which is if I can get one done, then I'm pretty happy with it. As long as I'm kind of close to my profit target for the day, we'll see where the rest of the market goes over the next few months. That being said, we had an initial sell side activity right at the open with aggressive move lower. I'm watching very closely two areas of liquidity bands, the ones above the pre-market high and the ones sitting below the pre-market low level, which was starting to build right there. Yeah. So what I look for is hesitation in price. Continuation is definitely important, but price hesitation mixed with liquidity levels on Bookmap combined with footprint signature are sort of my style. And when I see hesitation of price at a critical level that everybody's watching, which is the pre-market low, that's an area of interest for me. So at that point, I had sequential exhaustion prints on footprint. I had a liquidity band that showed relative support. Relative support doesn't mean that it can't go down in there and interact with it, but we were more in a mean reversion type of regime. So I went ahead and just added tiered long entries right into that area with a stop just below that initial pre-market low look below. So I consider that the excess look or the excess look below. And if my thesis is wrong, then I'll be taken out at just below that area of liquidity, and that's fine. the time is good. It's in that opening range. And if we get a reversal, I would expect at least to come back up to VWAP. It was much more aggressive than that. And so therefore I allowed the trade to continue up to my first level of what I call like external range liquidity, which is right there at the point of control, if you will, where the scene of the crime. If you look left, exactly. Yep, exactly. That to me is sort of where the damage was done, and people who think they're very safe being short might want to be either keeping their stop or may not have trailed it. And so price gets attracted to that area for interaction. So a partial gets taken off there. And then at that point, I just leave the remainder of my core position on with a stop, a tick or two, usually below a structural, dynamic structural target like the point of control or the VWAP. But in this case, I kept it below the point of control. Then it has a continuation pattern, so you allow it to continue. Partial was taken off again at the previous day high when it tests back into that, just because was expecting a lot of reversion, and I didn't want to basically get too lenient with the trade. And then it gives one more acceleration into my terminal target, which is those 3 liquidity bands up there. And that being said, that's pretty much it, because what comes afterwards is sort of what I was anticipating, which is get everybody long and then go ahead and pull.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Jump into the London close again, Bruce.
is this the same day as Valley? It looks like it's the same day.
Yeah, and if you scroll down, Bruce, you can actually see a little bit more on the microstructure of how I enter. Yeah, you see that? To me, that's sort of that's how zoomed up I keep it when I'm actually between looking at Bookmap. I mean, I sometimes will zoom up even more than that as I'm entering. Yeah, if you just go all the way.
Shoot, I can't. It won't allow me to.
That's okay. Even if you keep it like that, I think folks can get an idea.
Okay.
But that's actually about that level of zoom is what I'm looking at, and sometimes a little more in relation to once you get to, let's say, however you're trading, it doesn't matter to me, cam points or pivot points or anything. There's a million ways to trade, in my opinion. But, once you have the market framed and it's coming to an area of, let's say, interest or an area of concern, to me, that's when I aggressively get down into the microstructure of the market. And to me, that's one of the great things about Bookmap is if you're using something else, and you can use anything or just use Bookmap by itself, I mean, it's superb. I use Footprint. That's just my style because that's how I understand the market. But what this allows me to do is I'm able to correlate every sort of spike there with its behavior to a structural level and to existing liquidity and to real-time footprint signature. That's why I'm able to enter aggressively at certain points. So I hope that helps explain.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's the big risk is right here though.
Yes.
And because you don't know.
I don't.
And it would be much easier, like, if you had a trend line break here and you saw some of this volume, or, you got in up here, but you've already given away quite a bit. And you never know. I mean, maybe this fails and comes back down too, but like,
absolutely.
But your stop is tight, and
extremely tight.
Yeah, down here. And then, but there's a couple of things here, and we kind of put out the announcement this week about having a checklist, and your checklist here is, like you said, your higher time frame outlook or market structure. You know what you're looking for around these specific areas. Then you're looking at your footprint, and then you're looking and drilling into Bookmap and then liquidity, and then you're pinpointing your entries and exits.
Yeah. And that's for me, and I know that that's a high risk exit, and therefore, when I say tiered long entries, Bruce, the way that I enter, and this may be different from other folks, or even kind of, I guess, what's sometimes taught about, permitting your entry, I'll actually enter small. Okay. So let's say it's a 10 contract ES total core position. I'll put on 2. And then as the footprint signature is developing to show me sequential exhaustion on the sell side, for example, in this case, that's when I'm adding size.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Great.
To
So,
build, let's like, for example, this was a 10 lot position. So it was, I think I did like 2, 4 in relatively quick period of time. Sometimes that time will get, stretched out. It may be what you were showing up there, that at the secondary level of sort of accumulation to the right up there. Yeah, I might to the right. Yep, at that secondary, like what I call a phase 2 accumulation,
mhm.
would would be where I might add 4 and 4. That's fine. But to me, this move, in the way that it was behaving and the way the signature was coming on footprint, as well as how it was behaving there, with the speed at which it was behaving, was I felt confident enough to enter the full position down there, keeping, again, keeping a, not a 5 point or a 6 point stop, but, I think it was basically like a 2 point stop or something like that.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, that's fine. Then I'll try to enter at phase 2, and I may do a smaller position at that time instead of, full 10 lots. I might just do like 1 to 2, right? 5 lots, and you're still able to capture some meat off the bone, if your thesis is correct. So, anyway, that's sort of the way I trade.
Wow. Great. Great. Great stuff. David.
Well, yeah, great trading. Bruce has been a bit sarcastic. I think AJ's in my wheelhouse, isn't he? We're talking pre the call about how I trade, and I think we're fairly aligned. So not a huge amount to add, except that sort of general thing you've all heard me talk about, you hear Bruce talk about. Usual thing, time of day. That opening 30, 40 minutes, hour, so forth is a very good time to trade.
Yeah.
A dangerous time to trade. But that typical sort of sucker's punch, and because I trade out of the UK, out of London, those
Sure.
pre-market levels are on my chart. They're also often in my mind because I've been trading that session. And as you flagged here, typically the price will do a 180 on what it's done
Exactly.
in London.
Exactly.
It comes back. It's going to come to that level, and you can see on the chart that the sell-in is not that aggressive. I was saying to Bruce about that today, that the selling wasn't that aggressive. I know a lot of you will be shaking your heads and what the bloody hell is David on about? The market's a lot lower, and there were some big moves, but it wasn't like it was two Thursdays ago. And that selling there is not that aggressive, really. I know it's moving down, but you look at the volume bars, it's not that big. It's got to the level, as you say, when you've zoomed in. You've got the confidence to come in with a couple of lots, and then you get to position. You're going to scale. Which is again music to my ears. Do you use any other charts for sort of confluence? Are you looking at any individual stocks or something like that?
One more time, David. Do I look at what else?
Any individual stocks, indices? So you say
no, I pretty much exclusively trade ES.
Okay.
That's what I started with years ago, and for me, it's like I just feel like if you can, over time, really try to specialize on one, asset class or one product, and really understand its behavior, not only price-based, but time-based. And that's one of the things I think I mentioned to Bruce that I'm working on this year, is really identifying my sort of time zones where I do very well, as far as, I don't want to say predicting price, because I really don't like to think of it that way, but where probability, let's just say probability sits in my favor. And you being in the UK, that there's so much price displacement between specifically that 10 o'clock to 11:15 time frame. Would you agree, David?
Absolutely, very much. Yeah. And I bang on about it a lot, that I am a sort of, call it a time trader. And if you went back X years ago, when I was learning about these times, I had all on Ninja, vertical lines were being painted every day. So I'd set, to remind me, I don't need to do that anymore, because I'm sort of so embedded,
So I
muscle
I do the
memory. I've
same.
got it.
I don't keep vertical lines because it messes up me looking at the wicks and what the footprint chart is telling me. But I mean, I literally have like a little sticky sheet with,
Brilliant.
the little time, the time thing on the bottom of the screen there. So that's where I'm more paying attention. And there are advantageous time zones also. I think in the afternoon. Again, these are for your typical, I would say this is for your typical mean reversion type days in my experience.
Yeah.
You go back to like, oh, what was it? Like you said, about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that Thursday when we really dropped, right? When we had that
Yes.
was that and I totally agree with you. The selling today was like, yeah, it wants to sell off and it basically wants to sell off to another structural level from 2 days ago. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But every time 2 weeks ago, any green volume bar got to the volume point of control, it was violently attacked, right? That's selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
real
absolutely.
selling.
It is.
Like COVID selling.
Yes. Yeah. Stop downs. Yeah. Yeah. Circuit breaker selling. Yes. I'm with you.
Yeah, that's to me, for anyone who's new, if you're able to experience that, whether you traded it, I mean, I traded some of that, so for a nice 60 handle run, and that was good enough. You also want to be cautious in that, those things can really flip on you just like COVID did, and you don't know when. But while it's violent and down, it's going to keep doing that. So respect it. Those are not your mean reversion days to do something like this, where you're like, well, I think it's going to get to a certain point, and then, options gamma will kick in, and this will kick in, and all sorts of stuff will happen. No, it's not going to happen. The price wants to get to a certain point and wants to get there quickly. Do not stand in its way. Join it. So.
Yes. And I like the footprints as well. I probably use them slightly differently to you, as we all do. And I was sharing some of them with Stephen, I think, on the call earlier on in the week. And I do find them, and for me, I guess for any of us, just being able to sort of look down and just see some numbers, some actual numbers on the table, I found pretty useful. And then, as you say, when whether you've got the algo, whatever running to talk about exhaustion and trap this and trap that, can add to the storyboard of, yes, we are reversing here and we are starting to reverse seriously. It's not just a pull up because people are selling.
Correct.
So selling, covering their shorts. No, they are now generally going into the market to take it back up.
Yeah, and to me, one last thing. I don't want to take too much time, Bruce. Thank you for the floor, but nothing. And I've obviously, I've been trading for a while, and I've used multiple things, but I have kind of my own system now. But to me, nothing gives you the visualization, the very clear visualization of where static participants are in the market and how the dynamic aggressive behavior plays out. Nothing comes close to Bookmap when it comes to that. Nothing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
wow, that's well, we're gonna have to lift that quote.
It's a flag mouse.
No, I mean, it's just a fact. I mean, why do you think? Obviously, I post and I come here because I find this tremendously, valuable educationally. But it is unlike so many things out there. I think in this industry, there's an actual commitment to a genuine product, but it's also backed by a certain degree of intellectual prowess, right? In doing these academic debates, sort of. I mean, basically, sort of just like in postgraduate medical education, if you will. We do M&M, things like that, where you go and dissect out what went right, what went wrong in a procedure. And if you're doing that consistently within this framework, I think you stick with it. I'm sticking with it. So I see a lot of folks sticking with it. To me, it's sort of priceless. Because what you're doing is you're learning about yourself, but you're also learning from other folks who are doing great things, or maybe have done some mistakes where you're like, yeah, I've kind of done the same thing, not just once, 15 times.
Yeah. And within that, I think there's a bit of a sort of story. There was a question a few weeks ago, Bruce, or maybe last week, regarding if you were going to answer it in the week regarding the value and other things of using Bookmap and MBO and so forth. And I know I can sound like a bit of a salesman, but for people, I'll say like us, this is what we do every day. Then if Bookmap wasn't giving me some sort of edge, I wouldn't keep using it. That's what it is. It's just wouldn't. I'd find something else to use. I wouldn't have it on my screen for the hell of it. Just wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that you've caught there as well, AJ, is that it's not. When Bookmap's running, it's that fluid, it's alive, it's organic. That the screenshot doesn't really capture it. It's that sort of it's a beast, wild animal, as you said before.
Yeah, That yeah, and you nailed exactly what I was what I was getting at is that
Hmm.
to visualize the static participants
Yeah.
and the dynamic aggressive behavior in relation to that, let's just call it static potentiality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Price reacts off of potentiality is how I look at it.
Yes.
And to be able to see that, and when you go down there where I've kind of given a little bit of microstructure, again, not to the extent of microstructure that Bruce understands, but to me that's good enough microstructure for an average trader like me,
Yeah.
um, where you're able to go down to that level of of real time capability and seeing what's actually really going on with that static liquidity. There is some interaction. Now it's added even more, and it keeps wanting to try to go down there, but now it really doesn't. It doesn't. The probability is that it doesn't want to do it. And, gaining those insights real time. And if you have another system, great. Like for me, Footprint works where I can actually see, one of the signatures I looked for on that trade was give me a second sequential seller exhaustion with a little bit of volume sequencing and I'm in on my full size. That's something that I look at very specifically on my 2 minute bars because for me 2 minutes on the footprint for me, and again this is highly debatable. 1 minute is too much noise. 2 minute is a right resolution for me.
It
Sometimes
is
depending
finding the levels. Yeah.
on volatility, I'll go, I'll change the time frame, but
Yeah.
that's been my experience. So
Yeah, I'm with you. Trying to find exactly the right setting that gives you what you want.
right.
To be able to trade from rather than a day trade, a swing trade for the week or something. So
Exactly. So
Eh,
anyway,
eh,
thank you guys. I
Oh,
appreciate
no,
the
thank
floor.
you. I mean, it's really nice, and your experienced trader and what you bring here is tremendously valuable. So, I have a further question here, like just because like it's I want to cover like some of the negative elements in here
Please.
as well, because like when things go well, it's like, oh yeah, you should get in here and get out there. But up here, for example, your decision making, what I would imagine you're hitting your levels up here, right?
Yes,
And you probably got your footprint exhaustion here, and you
I
starting to
did.
see some.
I got a delta divergence up there, Bruce. That's why I got way more strict with where I took that.
Okay, so I'm wondering though, like, if you can just walk us through your decision making. The partial makes sense, but why not all? And then would you even consider like looking for a reversal at this point? Now I know that you mentioned this is you're targeting the high liquidity up here,
That's
which
the
is
terminus.
which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, like it wants to trade up into here, or
Yes.
that's what you're looking for. But to keep us from getting trapped on stuff like this, what kept you in the trade?
Yeah, so the first partial exit you can see, I'll just walk through all the exits real quick, but the first partial exit is that at that area of what I call external range, or some people will call external range liquidity, right? Yes, and to me that's a great place for me to take. Yes, why exactly? So I took off 40% of the position is taken off there immediately. It's taken off. The stop is moved to just below the point of control. That Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Point
Point
of
of control
control up
here.
there. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Purple up there. Yep.
yeah,
The stop
yeah.
is, I kept this tight stop. And some people may say, well, AJ, that's like really a tight stop. Yeah, it's really a tight stop because I did not trust the narrative of the day.
Mm, mm,
If I'm in a mode where I'm trusting the behavior or the narrative of the day, sure, I may keep a looser stop, but I was not trusting the narrative. And so immediately at that deflection down, because I was expecting that it can totally come back to VWAP.
right.
yeah,
And I
possible.
didn't want to give that up. So I take another 40% off there. My goal on all my runners is the core position should be 80% to 70% taken off before I'm in a position where I'm like, you know what, let me have some runners. This was a 20% runner position. That's it. There are two contracts left. fine. But there's still two contracts where I'm giving the opportunity that do we displace and deflect up into what is that highest level? 45 for 5400,
Yeah.
all the way up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know folks have seen this. I mean, you'll see it on Bookmap where it'll start kind of, banging its head up on the roof, and you're like, well, that's got to be resistance, and nothing's going to happen. Let me short it, and all of a sudden, you get, what Crash calls a shooting star in your face, right?
It's true. Yeah.
So I want to give at least if I've taken that risk down there, the way I think about it is, I want to give at least 20% on a tight day where I am literally watching every single footprint bar being made, along with every single behavior on Bookmap of what is it doing at what structural level and at what liquidity band. So 20%, I was fine with that because I kept it very tight up there. And if you were to do just an accelerated trend line, to me that trend line really started to want to look like it wanted to peter out. So the delta divergence happened right before that a second partial exit, where you're seeing we get up above the pre-market high on the second biggest bubble, right there, the second biggest bubble, where you got the biggest, the biggest bubble right there in the second biggest bubble. Yeah. What you started having at that point was your consecutive point of control, even though it moved up a little bit. Okay, the amount of buy activity at the top edge of the footprint candle was dramatically decreased with a price defense ratio. And once I see delta divergence with a price defense ratio, and that could still be a false signal, and we could accelerate 30 more points upwards. We absolutely could. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. So anyway, that's sort of the thought process, if it makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's really great to hear. Very helpful. Why you held, how you moved, how you managed it, and then why you fully exited into that high liquidity up here. Really, really helpful. Really great stuff. Thank you, AJ.
Yeah, no, thank you guys.
Yeah, great stuff, sir. Well done.
All right.
Thank you.
So let's see. I think that was all of Jack's, and then let's jump over here to next one. Okay. So David, let's see here. Allan. Yeah, let's take it away. And is Allan in here? Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let's bump him up.
Fantastic. So Alan's done a Bitcoin trade here, so I really am out on the rim here.
Did I win something? I hear my name.
You did, fella. You did. Hope you're keeping well.
Yeah.
I
get my entertainment from Mr. Blake over here.
Yeah, you pulled the short straw.
Well, yeah, since ever since we had the contest and Bruce suggested I still don't understand why, but he suggested if we trade Bitcoin, it'll make us a better trader. So I've been trying to, not doing it with live money, but just on a simulator.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to use the same concepts with other trading. I mean, there's less tools. You don't have all the stop iceberg and all that stuff, but in a way, it's kind of good because it makes it simpler. Like I put on the anchored view uplines.
Okay.
And you can see where my entry. What I put. I should have entered higher. See with the purple, where the green arrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. Down. There's the purple.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I should have gone higher, but I wanted a little more confirmation. But I still got enough out of it, I would. See where that red line is pointing to? That's where, like that white, I don't know, that straight a little bit higher above the yellow, wherever you.
Oh, up here.
The yellow.
Yeah.
That's where. Yeah, I should have got there, but I want a little more confirmation. And then I know I usually don't look at CVB because on the futures and stuff. So, but here it seems more relevant than other instruments. Is that accurate? Is it after a statement or not necessarily?
I mean, yeah, it's CVD. I mean, this is the output, and it really held up here, which is kind of odd because you do. I mean, no, it makes sense actually. I mean, this is such strong move here on the buy side, so it kind of all of this selling in here or this move back down is
Yeah.
still going to hang out up here. Makes sense.
I felt like that at the top of the move it was just like you shoot a rocket and just went up and that it went a little past the target and that's it. Then it's gonna come down.
Yeah.
That's how it
So,
kind of.
A-
I felt it.
Alan, take us through your checklist.
Checklist.
What were you looking for? Why did you get into this? Like this is what we'd like to try this out for a few weeks here because
Yeah, I
we
know.
know it's helpful and be disciplined. Like, why did you get into the trade? What is your checklist?
Well, I wanted to see identify where the VWAP was. So I wanted to see if it would continue. But then I saw kind of fading towards the back towards the VWAP again, like mean reverting. And then I was just watching it and just see what it was doing, and there was no like particular. It was just like basic. This is kind of like a basic. I just saw little red bubbles, more red bubbles, more red bubbles. So I figured just jump on the slide. You don't have to always make it so complicated. The trading. So I looked for make sure like it
So you're going with the
once
momentum.
once we reverted back to VWAP, that what that told me is that those green bubbles on top was just someone maybe just like taking profits and or maybe or maybe a bunch of market orders went through and it might have just pushed it up a little more like past VWAP, but it wasn't really like maybe they tried to take it out of VWAP and then you push market order, but then it goes up a little bit more, like slippage. And so I didn't see any continuation, but basically number one, there was no continuation. And since the VWAP was there and it came back down to the VWAP, I said, all right, let me keep an eye on this. And as the red bubbles got bigger, I'm like, okay, this is looks like a fairly higher percentage trade because I would say the size of the red, the size of the red of the selling. They kind of, I try and keep my bubbles, like not too big. So when they get really big, I'm like, oh, we have something really happening over here.
Yeah.
Plus, I really don't use CVD like I said before in the futures. I don't think it doesn't really help me as much in futures, but here it look at it. It practically lines up like slide. Like the
Confirms, yeah.
down is exactly as the CVD goes down and that goes down. So that's why I'm saying I feel CVD matters more maybe in the crypto markets
Okay.
as
Well,
opposed to the.
so then just encourage you here to if CVD is something you want to study in this instrument, then what is it that you're looking for, and then make that part of your checklist. So that means that once you put it in your checklist, like you've looked at like at least you have an idea, like maybe 4, 5, 10 trades. Once you get up to about 20 or so, like you've got like
Yeah,
you've started
I've
to kind
studied
of
that.
develop an edge,
Yeah.
and now you're going to refine that. And instead of just taking pot shots, I'm not saying that you're just taking pot shots in your trades. I mean, I think, David, this is the way that you trade, actually.
It is.
You see something like this, and you're like, yeah, okay, they broke this level. There's heavy selling
Yeah,
here. I'm
it's
looking
moving.
for it to come down here, and yet you see that there's still heavy selling, and you're like, well, I'm just going to get in more, and then you just take it down further.
I, forgot
And
my
then you wait and you grab this and you nail it.
mhm.
And I mean, this is looks very similar. So
Yes.
David, I don't know. I'm talking too much. You take it away.
No, you're not
Oh,
Bruce at
wait,
all. You're
I
not at
left
all.
a huge part out. Like, I'm big on the menu version, and the POC was there. So
Yeah.
I see it sliding down, and the POC is just waiting there to catch it.
Yeah.
And I had
Yeah.
if you see, I put a limit order where you circled. You see, what I
Mhm.
wrote here. I put and just in case,
Yeah, another
I put
cheeky
this
one
order
there.
just in case it plowed through the POC, but it didn't. So
Yeah.
like a stop over there. It was a
What?
good trade. I mean, yeah, it was a good trade. It was like $400 something dollars on that move. I'm not really used to Bitcoin, so I would have to study more, like how CBD affects the crypto markets before I can
Very
like
much how the
make it like
VWAP
a
works, how POC works.
yeah. Because I'm
Uh,
not I'm not used to it, so I have to like watch it more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And this sort of within that theme we were talking about last week with Rob in terms of looking at other assets, if we can say they're all assets, other assets on Bookmap, and perhaps find something that suits, I'll say
Works for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
sort of,
You need to find something that works for. Like I
yeah,
remember,
exactly.
I have a webinar I think from Jigsaw. I don't know, and the guys the something that always stood out with me. You have to find an instrument that fits your personality. So he's
Mm,
saying like someone who's more like a math person should trade options. If you like a slow market, trade the treasury. If you like faster, trade the NQ. You have to line up your person.
you do, you do.
There's so
Agreed.
many instruments that you have to line up your personality. Like my personality is like ADD. I want the Nasdaq. Either just tell me I won loss in 2 seconds. You become a millionaire or
What
you're
you
living
need.
in the street.
Yeah.
So like that just fit me. Like ES was like with this rotation. You remember Bruce? Like I don't know, years ago we had to stop ES for a while because it was like watching paint dry, and we had to go to NQ for a few months because it was just like doing just
Not
constantly
anymore.
rotating and driving us
No.
nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But those patterns, reiterating what Bruce has said, and you're saying as well, and very much we saw today, where the price will come up a little bit, it'll pull back a bit,
Yeah.
and the trade very much is looking at that volume that's hitting. And as we were talking about with AJ, the live screen gives you that feel where if I say colors are changing, they are literally right in front of you as volume bars are changing, and you can really feel that the market is going to go lower. Sure, it's not a guarantee, and that's what you've done here, Alan, for sure. Do you think you're going to do a bit more playing around with Bitcoin, or was this a one-off for us?
Uh, no, well, like I said, Bruce, when we had the contest, said that if I still don't, I don't know, I don't understand exactly why his logic behind it, but he said if we trade Bitcoin, it'll make us better traders in other instruments. So I don't know, maybe if Bruce, why
Yeah,
you feel
I
that
could
way?
elaborate on that. Like, I mean, this trade is probably only like Bitcoin. I kind of struggled with.
Yeah.
And Steven, slow down. Stan, they did well because they zoomed out. And it took the scalping tool out of my toolbox, basically. Like you made about $200 on this trade. It looks like 58,800 down to maybe 56 or so. That's only $200. You would have just cleared. You would have made $100 on this trade. That's it. Because by the time you clear the commissions, that's $100. So it just is
Yeah.
you're just
There's
ruined.
commission.
You're just ruined on it. So
Okay.
it's really tough to trade for scalping. Unless you get rebates or I don't know whatever it is that you
So
can.
you're saying that the Bitcoin will make us better because we have to be like cognizant of the commission and we still walk away with a profit that's significant. And
Well,
that's and
yeah, I
this
mean,
instrument is kind of like helps you uh like use that as an exercise to do that.
well, and also the
Okay.
participants in here. Like we've seen we can draw a line right across here, and look at selling below it, buying above it, bouncing, bouncing, big buying, stops everybody out, gets everyone
Going that way, yeah.
liquidated. And what does it do? All it does is go right through that line and then hits everyone else on the
Yep.
other side. And it does this all day long. Like, or
Yeah.
I've seen it do it a lot, and it's really unnerving. You're like, I can't get a move in here. I can't get a move to develop, and it's just people are getting annihilated on each side of the market.
Yeah. This is like an anomaly. Usually it isn't this like clear. It's like has like moves think about to get it, and it just like I had another trade. I didn't post it yet, and it was like 0.25 away, and then it just goes right back down, and it comes almost again, and it, goes, like, it could drive you crazy.
Yeah.
It's the Bitcoin, but this one happened to be, I don't know, it's an anomaly. This one happens to be like a straight clear line, and I'm always looking for my mini version, the
Yep.
VWAPs and the POCs, because it just works for me. It just seems to work. I mean, if it works, you don't have to like reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. 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 No,
Perfect.
great stuff. David, anything else?
No, nothing else. So thanks, Alan.
I have something
Appreciate
else.
that,
I have
and
something
keep
else.
exploring charts. Tell us, Alan,
I have
please.
something else that it's not related to Bitcoin. This is for all you traders.
Okay.
I have a speaker. It's called Soundcore. You buy it on Amazon. So
Okay.
with the market pulse, speaker goes according has like lights on the bottom, so it's flashing lights.
Mm.
And I noticed like I was sitting at my desk, and it's flashing like crazy. And I see the market like is going up, and I was like, oh, I'm like, great. I just found by accident another confluence. It's like $80, $60, and called I'll find the
The
name,
link.
the link, and like I don't know, something with seeing the lights go flashing so quick with the sound. I'm like, oh, like I don't. It just made it like one step, like I don't want to say easier, but it just felt like more comfortable getting into the trade. So
Yep.
I just have been meaning to tell everyone that this is my first opportunity. It's called a sound score. I don't know if I can post it. I'll find it and I can post
You
it
need to
tomorrow.
slow down's put something off your Facebook page. I think it's you
Yeah.
having a bit of dancing, mate. So it looks good.
Allan's
Well done,
confluence.
sir.
All right.
No problem.
I like that, Alan. I do like that.
No,
Great
no,
idea.
I'm telling you what. You have to when you see it, like you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
I'll find it.
Put it
I'll put it tomorrow morning.
post it in the academy room.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Oh, right now? I'll
hey,
find it. Yeah. Okay. I'll do it now.
hey, everybody, if you could, over on YouTube, please hit the like button for us, and leave a comment. How do you like this? Are you interested in the academy? Is this helpful? What can we do better? What are we doing bad, etc. Anything helps here. So yeah, be great to hear back from you, and see if you like it. We can do more. Anyway.
Yeah, I found it. I found it. How do you share on this damn Amazon?
Good stuff, Alan. Good stuff. We'll catch up soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll put it in the room. Go. Keep going.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you, Allan.
Oh, here I found
Thank
that.
you.
One second. Uh, copy. No, I go back to the Discord room.
Good stuff, fella. Well found.
Picture.
That's okay, Allan. When you post it, just put it in the academy chat room as well.
We'll shout it out. Yeah. So next
Putting it.
on my list is Dune Runner, who is in the room, or he was in the room. Yeah, he's in the room. I keep spelling his name wrong. You can see I've got too many
Okay.
N's, too many P's. He can tell me off when he joins.
All right.
Joins.
Okay. There you go.
There we go. Hi, Dune Runner.
Welcome back, Dune Runner.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Yourself?
Doing well, doing well.
Excellent. Great charting, buddy. Great
Thank
charting.
you.
Love them. Love them. Love the time of day. Lets me know, where I am with my London clothes and that sort of stuff. Fantastic use of Scotty zones, and so forth. We've got two on here. We've got your ES trade, and then we got the Russell trade. Do you want to talk us through, please?
Sure, let me just pull it up here.
Nice.
And okay, so we're looking at the ES trade first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just utilizing the stops and icebergs from the Scott Pulsini, the Scotty zones, and we came in there. It looks like we had some buy stops coming in there, and
Let me just. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Yeah, so we had some buy stops, and I entered the long after it did a retest on it, and then just found some different spots where I could take some off, utilizing a little bit of market pulse, and then ultimately the lugs. And I know on my exits there, I showed on the next picture. I know you guys always say, "Hey, get closer up so you can see where the liquidity is and the book map." Because the trades I typically hold a little bit longer than a quick scalp, so to get the whole trade on that first slide, it's hard to see all the details. But then I usually add a picture or two to show where the actual transactions happened. But yeah, it kind of came through, and then came all the way back down, and as it started going, pieced out a couple, and got up to the red lug, the lovely levels, final target, and was happy.
Very much. That's quite a wide stop. Politely, is that sort of the normal that Scott's sort of shouting out?
Yeah. So typically, what we'll do is that stop might have been a little bit low. I might have not adjusted it up because the trade started taking off pretty quick once it went.
Yeah.
But yeah, typically we'll do one, whatever the ATR value is, we'll do that one ATR below the zone as the stop.
Okay.
And the entry is one ATR above the zone for the standard.
Right.
The BARC stands for blind ATR retest confirm, which is BARC for short. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that is pretty standard. And then as you've seen on some of the other posts, as we get new events, then you'll just move up to typically an ATR below the next zone up. And sometimes tighten it up depending, if you're close to where you want to be on an exit or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I must put my hand up. I'm not familiar or as familiar anymore with sort of Scott's setup and trades, but that typical question that comes up, isn't it, is how wide should your stop be? This is a clear demonstration that as long as your stop's wide enough out of the action, you'll make the money. Now, I know that's not always the case, but those points where you're trying to squeeze a 2 or 3 point stop, you get blasted out and the trade still goes in the direction you thought it was going to go. This is, you're giving the trade room.
You put your stop where you're going to be wrong. So if it's an ATR below the zone, then that's where, hey, we're wrong on this one.
Exactly. Now, it's great chart. There's not a lot for me to add, except I use the word except, of course, all of you know, or getting to know the way I trade, I'd have been sort of jumping into the market round about 11 o'clock when you've got that breakout there approaching London close. I'd have been rocking and rolling there, trying to take out a couple of points and so forth in my crazy style, as Bruce highlighted earlier on.
Yeah, so just before that 12 o'clock, you could see where it does break the ATR, but it never came fully back to retest the zone. So for this type of trade, then we needed to come back and tap the zone again. And then on
check
the next
the aisle.
turn, then just try and give it a little bit higher probability. Want that retest. There are other trades that we have where you would enter as soon as it blasts out of an ATR zone, but for this particular setup, it does require the retest.
But there's a lot of ice going on here as well, which I'm with some of those setups within Scott, or it wasn't the focus at that moment, that day, that time.
Certainly do the ice. So the various thresholds we use, a little bit higher than what I've seen other people use, and I'm just stealing these right from Scott. So I think on the ENIS, it's 700 for the ice. There's 700 or more ice in a single event within a minute, and then 500 on the stops are the two limits that we use to validate if it's a setup we want to take.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Bruce, any comments before we slide on to the continuation chart, which is the next one, which shows how it panned out to the final?
No, not really. I mean, a pretty solid setup here. I mean, again, getting back to the checklist, you've got your Scott's zones. You've got the move, and it's met the threshold for stops, like you're saying. You see the move back up. It retests back to it. You enter, and you're exiting up in your levels up here. So nicely done.
Very much, yeah. Very very repeatable trade, I'm sure. Very good.
Let's go to the next one here. Okay.
So this is.
Is this a detail of that same
So yeah, this is just a snapshot of the final exit.
Okay.
So we see it kind of coming back, relying on some of the market pulse. You can see I'm using the volume pressure imbalance. So as that hits threshold there, and then if it, comes back down, and then as it makes a new low, then go ahead and jump out. It doesn't make sense. That's why you kind of see that stair step on the first stop, and then again the stair step on the second stop. I just figured, we're getting close to the, it's 2 o'clock here in the afternoon, and
End of lunch, anything can happen. Yeah.
Right,
Wise
yeah.
to get out.
We're
Wise to
close
get out.
to the red lug, so it's like, okay, usually a red lug is a pretty big pivot inflection point. So it was already flirting with that spot. So once it started coming back, I just said, all right, that's a good enough trade for me today.
Oh, well done. Oh, very good.
Great.
No, great trading.
Great.
And good charting. Really clear for people to follow.
All right.
Excellent.
Let's see here.
And then we got the Russell trades. So again, we got 2 charts, which is good. Scotty's again.
Bring it up here.
And again into that sort of like mid-morning London close. But Scott starts at 10, doesn't he? So I need to cut you some slack saying why you're not trading before 10. He kicks his room off at 10, doesn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, we're pretty active at market open 9:30. Usually try and sit on the sidelines for the first 10, 15 minutes or so and see what's going to happen. Occasionally put something in before open, if there's already some zones going. But
Nice.
similar thing. So this one again was had the retest. So went ahead and entered there right around the 10:30 mark. It looks like. Oops.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and then as it starts going up, there is a retrace of some of the resting liquidity. You'll see that in the next slide where you can actually zoom in and see that. So I took some off there, and then I actually took an ATR reversion trade as that other trade you see there, the 3.5. Or on the next picture there.
Oh, I'm a little lost.
No, yeah, that's perfect right there. So you see on yours where it's, I have the resting liquidity that actually gets filled, and as it comes back and retraces it, I don't want to watch it come all the way back, so I went ahead and took some off there.
Okay.
So that's why I moved my stop up. So that was that kind of middle action on that one there.
Okay. Great. I'm sorry, Dune Runner. What's the red line here? The red lines?
The red line is the ATR reversion trades. That's a 1, 2, or 3 ATR reversion stop.
Got you. Okay.
So yeah, it's for this trade. It's not particular. They're just on the chart all the time.
Okay.
And then if you go back to the other slide.
This one here?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So then you can see kind of that gold and maroon circle there. So it started coming back, and I had my stop to get out of the trade, but I also wanted to take a reversion trade because this was a good A+ reversion because it was coming back to the prior zone where the number 2 block is.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and took that. Now that doesn't show up on the chart because I use a different account for the ATR reversions. I separate my trades by different accounts.
Nice.
Just to keep track of them. So that was, one thing I'm hoping Bookmap eventually will is be able to switch accounts without having to reload all your data or reconnect. So I passed that on to the developer a few times. Well, I'll plug it here too. But so just got in long right there, and then exited back at the zone, and then it kind of kept going up, and then just moved the stops up with the different events that comes up there at that block number 4, and then at block number 5 finally comes an ATR back off of that top high ice. Use the trade.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. And I trade a little bit of Russell. I think John, who was a previous Blue Jacket winner, Bruce, he trades a fair bit of Russell in the Discord room with myself and Jack, has to be said. And if there's anything I like about it, and you probably like the same here, Dune Runner, is that it's not as dragged around by the Mag 7 because they're not in the index, David. It's not.
Yeah, it tends to be a little bit more stable, a little bit fewer games going on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you don't get those actual face ripping moves that you
Yeah.
get in ES, because
It's
sometimes
really
that
good
makes
for
both of them.
retests also. Both Russell and YM are both
Yeah.
excellent retests.
Yeah, and
So,
it trades very nice in London. That may not be applicable to your time of day, but certainly to the earlier conversations, it's a nice London trade. And John often does trade London, even though he lives in upper New York State.
perfect.
Perfect. So great chart. And nothing else to add on my end on that, Bruce. Just great. Congratulations.
Yeah, I had a thought here. Like, so you've got your trade, your checklist here on the chart: 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then this is what you're looking for, and you're also basing it off of Scott's strategies. You're following Scott's rules, and this is your guideline. And I think if we go back and I remember you taking these trades earlier, and we came in and questioned a lot of them. Like, well, you didn't have order flow that was supporting. It might have been hitting the Scott zones, but you're like, selling right into tons of buying. Now it seems like you've got these aligned and going in that direction. So you got your higher time frame strategy with Scott, and then also you got the order flow now going along with it. So
Yeah,
great work. I mean, that's we talked about the having the setups checklist, and then also make sure that you have that in your charts, and we're going to push more and more moving forward on that, and just keep reminding people, make sure you have a checklist. You got to know what you're doing. Why are you getting in? And then you've got that here on the chart. You do have your Scott zones, and then you're looking for specific things. And I still think that if there's anything, I mean, you're perfecting Scott's trade. If there's anything that can help, maybe it's to look deeper into some of the order flow. Is the book supporting it? Is the volume in the momentum of that volume going in the direction that you're looking? That might be more helpful.
Yeah, one thing I really like about Scott Zones, and it makes sense to me, it's pretty defined on when and where to get in, but the exit is, that's depending on what your style is or what you're looking for, what's important to you, then everybody gets out at different times. There's not a specific always get out at this spot for a lot of the stuff. I mean, there are some, to always get out of the trade if there's, does an ATR on an opposing volume of it. But just as your take profit going up the ladder here, it's do that. So I'm trying to look more at the market pulse, more at the order flow, resting liquidity, and I'm really enjoying how Bookmap lays all that out. So
yeah,
that's been nice.
That's great. I mean, that's the way. Like, even it's higher time frame levels, and then liquidity around those levels. Or understanding the order flow and the transactions around those levels is what AJ covered, is what you're covering, and then who went first? Oh, and then Valefan as well. And I know that also Allan's looking at that too, but not with that trade example. That was more momentum catch. Great stuff. Let's see, is there anything else in here?
That's just the two there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add, David or Dune Runner?
What I would chip in, and it's probably been said already, both, and it's something that Stephen and myself I think we're just chatting about, Stephen, rather than when we had the call, is that, and I said at the start, Bruce, that as a discretionary trader, then it's great you have the rules, great you have the checklist, and that's 100%. I use the word but and yet, where maybe me and others are saying about, well, throw in another, scale back in, you're then sort of just going a little bit off piece. You're breaking the checklist because you've made the money or enough money on that trade, and then you're rolling the dice without being reckless. But I'm not suggesting everyone does that, Bruce. But try and make sense of what I've said.
It's a really good point. But I think that's step 2, David.
Optimizing
it, because now first off, know you have an edge. Now play that edge
Yes.
again and again. Now you can bring in trade management to it, and
That's the
you
best
can
word,
scale
yeah.
and you can scale. You've know you have an edge. Well, push it then. And they're not all going to work out.
No,
You know,
no.
but it's worth trying for sure.
And there are times where we scale in more, again,
Right.
to rely on the market pulse. And if it, you get that same flag pattern where it's, you're not making new lows, but you are making new highs, then you can go ahead and add some and then just put your stop right below it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of beef up the position a little bit. I haven't been doing a lot of that. I'm still fairly new as a trader. So
Yeah.
just like I'm still on that phase one, just trying to learn all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bruce has summarized. It's the word for me I should use. It's sort of evolve in trade management. Not say evolve in the trade, evolve in your trade management, and being more adventurous in the rules. But yeah,
Well,
perfect.
you are and you're not. I mean, like you're adding more risk, but it's totally in your favor. It's like it's like the momentum continues and there's nothing to stop it. It's like, well, I should put more on. I mean, like go with it, but that's higher probability. It's not, you're adding risk, but it's like it's well thought through. I mean, like
Yeah, it's not
it's
totally
not
reckless. Agreed.
reckless, right?
No.
And that's on that one post. If you go back to the top picture there, if you look at that 3.5, I mean, that is, scroll back down. Yep, that one. So that is me adding on. So that's where I added on some more long. It came back to the one ATR, but not quite enough to stop me out. And I said, okay,
Yeah.
let's, try a little bit more at that point. And I could have rolled that all the way up, but for that particular trade, it's, one ATR back to the zone.
Yeah.
So just, trying to follow those rules and not, try and be too fancy and say, okay, let's just try and ride it all the way to the top. That
Yeah.
specific trades calls for that enter and exit.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, the one thing that like I've found, at least from my kind of personal experience, is that they can really mess with my mind if I put on that other trade, and now I've taken a really a pretty solid trade and it goes against me, and I really mucked it up, and that's where, like, okay, so make sure that I kind of reflect off of it and like make sure that you've your setup, you've got your setup. Now you can start to look for areas for that trade management to go, and if it doesn't work, like, just don't feel too bad about it. Like, just one step at a time. I mean, like, I really like, for example, the way Scott looks at it. He looks at it as two different trades. And he manages them that way as well. He says, no, this is a new trade. It's a new setup. I'm still in the old one, but I'm going to place my stop now according to all the new trade. All of my stops are going to be according to the new trade setup. So he'll move his stop up, for all of them to a certain area. And it's like, well, it should work, right? I mean, it makes sense. And if it doesn't, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So
Right.
I'm afraid that just one step at a time, and then you can get into the more advanced stuff, like the scaling.
But great charting and great stuff. You've come a long way, clearly, from someone, as you say yourself, you've only sort of started trading recently. So congratulations, sir.
Yeah, nice
Yeah,
job.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, let's see here. So I think it's my turn. I'm up. And Stephen, it's been a while. So Stephen's got his checklists in here and in the trade. And let's see, I think this was today's. So Stephen, why don't you, let's see, are you in here? I think you are. Yeah, there you are.
He is.
Yeah, and you got the mic.
Hello.
Hey, Stephen, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm
Hi,
well.
everyone.
You're kind of faint.
Uh,
Maybe.
oh yeah. Um, I don't know why, but I think it's the same issue as last time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, go for it.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Really need. Okay. I'll try and speak a bit louder.
Okay.
Basically, it's been an active week. I managed to take trades every day and post it, except for today I was a bit delayed. But yeah. So basically, over here we had buyers. I'm trying to get context. Hold on. Let me just open my screen. But basically, this is a bearish setup, and just hang on. Okay, so you can see on the top right, KT. So that's the move bearish, and that kind of cued me in. I don't know if any of you know of the IB. So it's like, the first 30-minute range, and that's basically what I was looking at when we had and we had a retest of the yellow line. And then basically I was just like queuing in there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait until I really get sellers delta bars, and then I'm gonna get in with sell stop. And that's why if you look where I got short, it's not normally where I get short, but I like this approach because it gives me a lot of confirmation, because they are you think like this is where it's going to reverse and pushes higher. And then you also see it nicely in delta bars. If you look at the big chart, we've got a really big delta bar, and then the one on the left is so big. I've also noticed sometimes get that like slightly, but compared to the buyers, the sellers obviously took over. And then in the small purple square, rectangle, whatever, you can also see clearly we have a lot of on the offer. That's the skew, and that's the pressure pushing down. And you can see my arrows, buyers tried, they were failing with lower highs and lower lows. Yeah, and then I was quite frustrated with this trade, because usually I hold on larger moves, and as far as I remember, it took out yesterday's low. And in the previous days, I was going for bigger moves, and I didn't quite get those extension moves. Quite frustrating. I was even David, and yeah, I was asking him like, how do you handle, quite interesting talk. Oh, and then my exit, if you look on the far right edge, you can see I trailed my stop down. Maybe a bit too aggressive. I actually trailed it a little bit up, but the market was moving, and it just took me out. So yeah, and you can't really see the structure, what I was seeing at the time. Obviously, these are screenshots that I'm constantly random Control S. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if I was talking to myself. And then a bit later, in hindsight, I was like, if I didn't trail so closely, I could have maybe got a few more pips and got my target for the lower target level that you see, which did get achieved. But yeah, overall, I think I'm quite happy. Oh, and then I didn't take any more trades. I decided to work on slides for the Bookmap Academy. Yeah, and then I was like kind of feeling a bit of revenge. Like you don't want to miss a nice day that moves, but some days you have to just sit out. I've been pretty active the rest of the week. Any questions?
Well, I mean, you covered quite a bit. So let me, I guess, just to step back and say, can you go through a checklist? And I know you have it, some stuff here, but maybe just go through it for
Yeah,
us.
yeah, that's okay. You know what? That makes it a lot easier. So basically, that's my notes in that white block. That's like my higher time frame context. And then if you see my Ninja Trader, that I'm very visual. So it's also abbreviated in my notes, but basically I'm saying here, let's see. Yeah, so we opened, so it's like just for context, we opened near overnight high, broke above, we exhausted, and then sellers came in. And that's that move that I'm explaining, that first impulse leg to the downside. My bread and butter setup seems to be the pullback, but I don't just get in. I used to do that. So I seem to have evolved, and Bookmap has helped me with that timing. And then that's what's in that purple block. I mean, the purple square or rectangle. And you can see there, I don't know if it's clear enough, but you can see where I got in, my entry short, and I entered with a sell stop. And then you can see my stop, I moved my stop slightly higher above the highest high, well, the recent wick high.
Yeah.
And then a bit later, if you look on the big slide, I moved it back just to minimize the risk, because what I usually go for is a 3-point stop. So reason why I moved it up is because I've had cases where it will retest it one more time. I think they call it a kiss of death, and then it will go down. So that's why I moved it above, because I've had so many cases wick me out and then go straight down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have to add. Is there anything else that you want me to go over?
Let's see.
Yeah, I wasn't active today, to be honest. Only one trade, but it was a good day.
Yeah, it's a
Compared
lovely
to
trade.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I took a lot more trades. And I've actually been posting 2 slides a day. Well, for each day.
Wow, it's great, Stephen. So is it helping?
What is helping? You mean
The
the
posting?
accountability? Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Let me actually share a slide. I'm gonna chuck it into the Bookmap. Hold on. This is what my Notion looks like at the moment. My computer seems to be lagging. Strange. Oh, I know why. Because I'm trying to set my audio. Well, anyways, I'll post it now. But yeah, it is helping because it's accountability, and it's forcing me to look a little deeper at what I was busy with.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't post anything. That's strange. So
That's great.
and then I get to dig in deeper into like what I'm looking at, and then over time, I think I should narrow down my checklist.
Yeah.
But my main, well, I don't share my checklist on the drawings. I should. I'm getting to that, but in my trade plan, like I still have a lot of ingredients that I'm not too sure. I haven't simmered it down to exactly what. But one thing that kind of seems to be obvious with me is that purple block with what I'm showing there in terms of entry, because sometimes you think this is where it's going to reverse and then it pushes higher. So waiting for it to step in and taking out the microstructure. So I'm going to build something around there. And I also see other traders have that focus point as well. And then of course volume profile, which helps with that.
Yeah. I would just say like I think you actually said it yourself, that refining that checklist. What is it you're looking for? Why are you reacting a certain way? And start refining it. It seems like you're kind of in the mode here of slowdowns, you're kind of in refinement stage here, and starting to understand what you're looking for, and then the goal is to get into very, very refined. You know exactly what you're looking for, and this, like, try to work forward, to this. Like Vinny is doing a great job. Shark Baloo has his checklist. A lot of other guys have their checklist. So, I would suggest keep building that, because that's what's going to give you this confidence. And when everything goes sideways, you're starting to notice these things. But now start to what resonates with you and start to refine it. And then things will get they should get much simpler. And we're going over a lot of other things now in the webinars about market timing, maybe certain behaviors of opening range, or reversals, or as David is talking about, London close, and then looking for behavior in those as well. So that's all that I have. I don't know, David, if you have other comments.
No, I think it's been well covered, thanks, and great trading there, Stephen. So well done on snagging those. You were in really early at the peak there, so well done. You took out 15 or so handles. So brilliant trading, fella.
Okay, I just want to say something.
Mm.
I'm wondering what you consider early. I think that was like 28 minutes or 29 minutes.
I mean, in terms of sort of the peak, you're pretty much up there for again the Monday morning quarterbacks. Was go, come on, why were you not in at at 65? But the fact that you got in there is pretty bloody good. It has to be said, because I say that today Europe had bid the market all morning. They just bid the market all morning. It just gone up and up and up. Yeah, then you get a little bit of pullback. It gone up and up. So you were to short it. You were going against the narrative of the day, and often of the year, weren't you? Really? And if anyone saw, I said to Bruce before we started today, in my comments at the start of the day in spot gamma, I thought, well, we're going to get up to 5,700 or get close to it today. That's what I thought we were going to do. And the way that Tesla was moving early doors, wasn't expecting what happened. So well done. Well done.
Yeah, like I said, I was a bit frustrated because I don't know if I explained it well, but like I like going for long moves, and I was a bit more conservative, and I missed it. It's just amazing the timing on trading.
Well, yeah, it was. And you look at you've seen my screen, haven't you? Because we were talking about it in the week, but on the sort of my trading chart, which is just candles, and you look at that, you had a solid hour-ish of it just range bound into London close, and it dropped a little bit more. So it wasn't screaming of a down day. Certainly nothing I was looking at. So no, be proud. Great trading, mate. Great trading.
Thanks.
Let's see here. Actually, I think we got 15 minutes left, and we got Crash in here. Stephen, if you don't mind, we'll kind of. I think we got pretty good feedback on that on today's action, and you're looking at a lot of stuff and properly, really nicely marking them up.
I'm trying.
And then when you're doing it, there's no question about that. So you're noticing these things. But this again, like, and you're communicating it to us. But I would also say, like, I told this to a lot of other guys over some years now. Don't get burned out doing this, because then you're gonna give up on it. So do this for you. Try to make it objective to communicate it to others, but you're doing this for you, and if it helps you. So Don't worry about like getting too detailed or whatever. Now, what are the next step for you is like taking all of these things that you're noticing in here, and it's like, aha, there's this, aha, there's that. Okay, I notice that this happens pretty often, and I like it, and it's during this time of day. Now, I'm going to start looking at that a little more focused, and start marking that up. And now you found something that resonates with you. It may not work later, and maybe it doesn't resonate with you later, but at least it's worth looking at for a while, and you might be able to integrate it into a really clean and clear setup for yourself.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. I don't like it. It's just so easy to say these things, but like I don't know. I hope it helps, and that's what we're here for, is to give external feedback, and a different viewpoint, and some coaching and mentoring from that different viewpoint.
Yeah.
So that's the goal here, and rely on the community like you did. You reached out to David, or you're reaching out to some of these other guys in here, and you can get some really good feedback.
Yeah. Thanks. I will definitely listen to that. And there's been times where I'm like, why didn't I listen earlier? Unfortunately, we need you guys to repeat it a few times before we listen.
You're doing really, really great work.
Getting there.
Yeah. Encourage you. You're doing great. And your patience is your superpower, I think. I don't think a lot of people have your kind of patience. That's what I have noticed as well. You're patient to hold through longer time frames. That's a really great skill.
I was telling David about it. I don't know if it's greed. I think it is, but it's also could be a good quality, the long runs. But like, today it just didn't work out. But I do have a plan to implement with my long runs, and then maybe another account for more conservative, because I also do well when I take conservative positions and exits, because there's times where it doesn't run, and if you take conservative, you do well. But holding for the longer move and it doesn't really move, then kind of shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
But anyways, let me say thank you, and let's bring on Crash, I think you said.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Thank you, Stephen.
Stephen.
Thanks.
Okay.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Welcome back, Crash.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Well, I'm doing better after I just finished moving this week, so I've just kind of been out of it the last month doing repairs on the house, selling it, and then moving this last week. So I missed last Thursday, unfortunately, but I'm back in action this week, so that's good.
All right. Well, welcome back, and run us through.
Well, this is everybody knows I like to talk about surfer icebergs. I just try to show as many different examples as I can of how I might look at it or treat it or trade it. One of the things I always say is that surfer icebergs always get retested, but the time frame when they're going to get retested is the unknown. Is it going to be 10 seconds later? Is it going to be 2 hours later? And this example right there, in any example, I want to use surfer icebergs as confluence with other factors. So I don't usually trade just off an iceberg alone, although I will occasionally. Like for example, today around 11, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we had double iceberg surfers come out on the ES and the NQ, and price, they're by ice, so the price goes up right away from them. And the same thing happens in this. You can see price comes up at the it's kind of climbing up at that 12:55 time frame, and then it has a pullback right there about 12:58, where you get that big red dot, and you get a little bit of a market pulse spike there, and then immediately a surfer lot comes out, pretty large. I mean, look at that number. So when that happens, I generally will try to take a trade if it's near one of my zones or my price targets or liquidity zone, something with confluence, and I will buy that big lot right there and try to ride it up, 5, 10, 15, 20 points, depending on whether I'm trading the ES or the NQ. But you can just see the price action there, right? Price comes back on a pullback after kind of a little ABC impulse move up. Iceberg comes out, and then you get a big spike up in price from the 56.25 all the way up to the 56.30 area. So, you can get 5 points out of that thing, and then it decides to come back down and retest. And then you get a retest, and it doesn't get taken out. So then you get another little pop. And you can just it depends on the situation, decide to just snipe around it. And that's what I was doing on this particular one. When I saw it didn't get taken out and it bounced up again after that big sell, you can see each time it's 2 big sells right at that sell volumes, right at that price. And the first one, it created the iceberg. And then the second one, it tested it but didn't take it out. So I'm just trying to snipe a few points here and there around icebergs when it shows confluence. I don't know if you have I think you usually shut down your charts the day of. Do you have your charts up from today, Bruce?
Yeah, that's actually a question. So what, January 19th?
Did I mistype that? It's probably August.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the U contract here. So,
yeah. I think it's a typo.
Okay.
Oh, maybe that's July. I don't know.
Just looking at it, yeah.
That's clearly a typo.
Yeah, but I got the ES up today.
Sometimes I'm stuck in the past, I guess.
Bruce, for so cut across you both. Those surfer icebergs are quite nice in ETH. You buy London Morning. They're not of that size, but they can be a couple of hundred. And they do exactly what you're showing. They'll sit there, the price will come in, they might get a bit of a partial fill and it'll scoot away. And it's a nice lower risk scalp, or as you're saying, a sniper trade just to go in, just ride the back of it. Just take a couple of handles with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at 1400 today, Eastern Standard
mothers
Time.
in here today. There's some big mothers in there today.
Yeah,
right.
Huge. I mean, we've been going down all morning, right? All day, basically. A trend down day. And then you have a double surfer iceberg comes out. Now, when that first one comes out, it's a little bit above that liquidity zone. So you don't know if it's going to come back and get tested. First one, which was a 39 lot, I believe. Mm-hmm. If you scroll to the right a little bit, I think it was 39, if I remember correctly.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. I don't think I have a setting for it.
I'll post a picture of it later. I actually took a picture of it today as well.
Okay. Everything's selected here. I don't know what happened there.
I can take this. I can copy it and I'll put it in as we're talking. But let's see if this pastes here. Can you open up that one? That picture I just sent?
Yeah. Back to Ocean. Hold on. Put it here. And Rob left. We were going to cover his. He's going to go into making some great stuff. Yeah, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little condensed here. You can see both the ES on the left, the NQ on the right. You get a little bit of some market. I actually legged in a couple times. This is one of those ones where I was doing price discovery. Right, it wasn't totally clear cut on some of the market polls, the VPIs I have. I was in and out multiple times on the bottom, but when I see that second iceberg surfer lot, 542 on the ES, and then another 23 on the NQ, I added to my position pretty heavily at that point. So I'm testing the bottom. You go down to the bottom of the subchart on the NQ, you can see the market pulses, where I'm kind of trying to leg in just price discovery to see whether I'm going to be able to get a pop or not off of it. I try a couple different times, legging in, legging out. And then when I see that pullback and that second double surfer ice pop out on both the NQ and the ES, then I added pretty big right there. to try to write it up. And on the NQ, you're going from 600 to 651 just on that screen. So that's 50 points. How much can you try to grab off of that? 5, 10, 15, 20 points,
Yeah.
So to me, it's just a great example of using iceberg surfers as confluence to help you get in on a trade.
Yeah. Echo that.
And then you got to remember, oh, sorry, David.
No, I was just saying, love it.
Yeah, and then you got to remember they're going to probably get retested at some point in time, right? And with it being a down day, I legged out again, at a couple different price points, and then held some runners, expecting it probably to come back and retest it, because you see that 542 lot on the ES. At some point in time, they're going to want to come down and try to tag it. And if you go to the live screen, you see that in fact we actually did come back down and eventually took it out. You find a point up at the top where you want to leg out. Maybe you find another liquidity zone, another market pulse spike to the top, and then you try to maybe trade back down to the retest. So I just use iceberg surfers quite a bit with my trading.
Yeah, no, I like it. And I think my gut feel on these is they're, I'll say, more effective than just seeing a 2,000 lot going through without any context and any story. These people that are getting in, they're showing their hand, and they've got some setup that's no doubt involved in this, and it's just showing it could be across multiple assets, and just tag along as long as the order flow works.
And it's great when there's confluence, right, between the two of them. So you see double iceberg on both of them at the same time. That's pretty good confluence to me.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like the way that you're integrating. Bookmap is showing the liquidity in the heat map very well. This is something more nuanced, or it's a part of it. It's not just the order flow, it is the order types within the order flow. And those order types are hidden here in this case. And who's using that? It's larger players. So it gives a lot more kind of deeper insight to these levels. But it's like Steven's super strength, I think, is superpower is the patience. I think yours is the confluence. So you're looking at this. You mention it every time. Like you're saying, okay, I see it in here. I see it in here. I'm looking at this in market pulse in here, and it's making really good sense to you. You're looking for this move to go to a certain area, take some off, and then you're actually looking for it to come back and retest to some of these areas as well. Really, really nice use of confluence and the order types within the order flow.
Yeah, and nothing shows it like Bookmap. Nothing.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's one problem which we're working on. So you can also you won't be able to trade from this chart, but I can show it here now. This was from. Yeah, I still got it here though. So you can show now on the Trader Map Lite and the Trader Map Pro versions, you can show stops and icebergs, but only on chart at the moment. So how that helps you is, and this is for the NQ as well, Crash. So this liquidity in here, you don't see those algo bands in here. So if you go over to the ES here, you're going to see those algo bands in here, they've been in here for a while. But now you can have that filtered out in the Trader Map Lite version and Trader Map Pro with stops and icebergs on the chart. So that might allow you that kind of deeper insight with, here's that high liquidity that's not that algo band, and I've got the icebergs within it.
Now let me just ask you a question, since you're kind of teaching this. I don't myself. I've played with the Lite just a little bit, but I don't know that I see the how much more Lite might give me than the combination of the regular and the Trader Map Pro together. What exactly is Lite going to offer me that the other two are not?
Okay, so the Lite is free, and it doesn't have any. It's just there's one algo that we developed to take out that algo band. Now the Trader Map Pro version, actually this came out first, Trader Map Lite, and we didn't have it within Trader Map Pro. We added it in, and then we also added here. I'll show you with the Trader Map Pro. There's a filter in here, like a sensitivity slider. So,
Yeah.
So this is the added bonus in here. So you can take out even more or less of that algo band within the Trader Map Pro filter. And all you do is click, create, add a new one here, filters, bot remover, and then here's that slider here.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, basically, if you have Trader Map Pro, you don't really need to.
No, you don't need the light. You don't need the light then. But we just got a lot of feedback and people were pretty upset. Like, well, I just got Bookmap and it shows the heat map, but this player is totally taking out the use of the heat map, and I need to get now the MBO bundle to use the heat map. Doesn't seem fair. And we're like, yeah, okay, good point. So we made the Trader Map Lite version free, and then we just put a little more filtering or bells and whistles on it for the Trader Map Pro version.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. Crash, great stuff. I mean, great to have you back, and glad that the move went well. Let's see if there's anything more go over, or no, I think that's it. Yeah. I don't know, David.
I'll have some more content next week and following, so should be getting back a little bit more heavy into it.
Okay, excellent. David, anything more you wanted to add?
No, that's really good. Really good. No, well done, Crash. Nice to see you back. Well done, buddy.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you as well.
David, wrap it up.
Yeah, well, thank you, everyone. Appreciate all your posting, your spreadsheets, everything else, and listening to us Monday morning quarterbacks and so forth. Have a great weekend when it comes. And look forward to talking more about how we can skim some more greenery out the markets, Bruce. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody. Great work, and thank you for posting.
Definitely. Cheers, guys. Take care. Godspeed. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.